the year of utmost poverty, I sold my rear to a top-tier alpha. From that moment forth, I trailed at his side, indulging in sumptuous delicacies and lavish comforts. Everyone remarked that the young master of the Xie family was accompanied by a beta, a lovesick mad dog. Anyone daring to approach the young master of the Xie family would be met with the mad dog's vicious bite. Upon hearing this, Xie Ziyu deliberately lifted my face with his polished shoe, teasingly inquiring, "Good dog, do you harbor feelings for me?" Each time, I obediently nodded, my cheeks flushed as I confessed, "Indeed, I adore you greatly." This declaration was nothing but a fabrication. Seizing the opportunity while he was at the airport to retrieve his long-lost love, I fled without a backward glance. I sighed, clutching my waist, realizing that the days of playful escapades were finally drawing to a close. A beta ought not to be entangled with an alpha. Yet, within a few days, I found myself pinned beneath a man, his heated breath cascading over me as he murmured, "Darling, you've been disobedient, always dreaming of escape. If you dislike being my wife, then whose wife do you wish to be?" he asserted. "You shan't leave this bed. You will not depart until you bear my child." "No, I am a male beta. How could I possibly conceive a child for him?" 1. As I was indulging in a delightful afternoon slumber, I was abruptly roused by a phone call from Secretary Xie Ziyu. "Brother Chu, old Master Xie has once again introduced a soft and fragrant omega to the boss. You must come quickly to drive this omega away and safeguard the boss's integrity." The remnants of my drowsiness vanished in an instant, and I hastily rose from my bed. Xie Ziyu is indeed my benefactor, providing me with a monthly salary of 1 million star coins. My assigned role is to be his little lover while simultaneously preserving his reputation from any omega disturbances. Last night, Xie Ziyu had exerted himself vigorously, leaving my calves trembling as I stepped down, nearly toppling to the ground. I muttered curses under my breath as I sped towards the company in my car. Upon pushing open the office door, I was greeted by the sight of a tearful omega, firmly restrained by 2 bodyguards. "Xie Ziyu, as an alpha, why do you willingly debase yourself by associating with a beta? A relationship between alphas is the true norm." Xie Ziyu was seated at his desk, clad in a black suit, his handsome features exuding a cold intensity. Ignoring the outburst, he remained engrossed in his work. The beautiful omega noticed me and immediately deduced that I was his kept beta. With wide eyes, he exclaimed, "You are the one." I effortlessly settled onto Xie Ziyu's lap, wrapping my arms around his neck and, in a high-pitched voice, playfully cooed, "Darling, I miss you so much. Do you miss me?" He skillfully supported my waist and I, like a mischievous sprite, planted a kiss on his lips before triumphantly addressing the omega. "Did you see that? He is mine. As an omega, you wouldn't dare aspire to be a mistress, would you?" 2. In contemporary society, betas are typically regarded as reliable, honest individuals. Encountering such a flamboyant beta for the first time, the beautiful omega was momentarily taken aback, tossing out, "I would never be a mistress," before angrily shaking off the bodyguard's grip and leaving. The office fell into an abrupt silence. I rubbed my aching waist. "Xie Ziyu, why hasn't your old master given up on introducing omegas to you? If you summon me again on short notice to fend off romantic advances, I will demand a raise." Xie Ziyu loosened his tie and, with an indifferent gaze, lifted his sharp phoenix eyes to meet my face. "Chu Ran, it's not that you lack effort. If you were to be more affectionate, to cling to me and demonstrate that I am indispensable to you, what omega would dare approach as a mistress? Damn! Truly a capitalist deserving of being lampooned. I merely hinted at a pay raise, and he turned it around to criticize my work ethic. If he desires efficiency, then so be it." I slid off his lap, ignoring his puzzled expression, and approached the office door. With fervor, I banged on the door while shouting, "I beg you, Master, please don't hit me anymore. It hurts. Please, don't whip me or strike me with a stick. I was wrong, and I promise I won't let any omega near you again." Xie Ziyu's expression darkened, emanating a chilling aura as he ground out, "Chu Ran." Silence. 3. The mischief occurred at noon. Within a mere afternoon, news of Xie Ziyu possibly tormenting a canary in the office had spread throughout the affluent circles of the capital. He swiftly transformed from the esteemed heir of the Xie family into a villainous benefactor. When dining out with Xie Ziyu that evening, I could overhear whispers from adjacent tables. "Have you heard? The young master of the Xie family has peculiar tastes in bed, delighting in tormenting others, wielding whips and sticks against his wife. Oh, how could he do such a thing? I thought he was a good alpha. The beta he keeps must be utterly pitiful. It's no wonder he dates betas rather than omegas. Who could withstand such a proclivity? I thought to myself, could you all please lower your voices? The person involved is right here. Sieziyu's striking phoenix eyes were as dark as ink, his handsome visage calm, yet I sensed an impending storm. I was reminded of 3 years prior when I first became his companion. Back then, I had not shed the habits of a yellow-haired ruffian. Smoking, drinking, fighting, I indulged in it all. After yet another brawl with a gang, I found myself in custody, and it was Sieziyu who came to my rescue, wearing that same calm expression. I believed I had not angered him. Yet, once my injuries healed, he ensured I remained bedridden for a month. He even insisted I quit drinking and smoking. The thought of those dark days spent in bed sent shivers down my spine. I forced a pleasing smile. Darling, I'll clarify that the one with peculiar tastes in bed is actually me. You are a truly wonderful person. However, I am only doing this for your benefit. See, with this rumor circulating, omegas will surely keep their distance from you. Sieziyu's warm, robust hand tightened around my waist, forcing me against his firm abdomen, the scent of his delightful mint perfume enveloping me. He wiped the food stains from the corner of my mouth before coldly scoffing. No need. I fear that if you speak, my reputation will plummet into the abyss. By the way, I noticed you were quite enthusiastic in your performance at noon. You must be looking forward to me treating you this way. When we return home, I shall thoroughly satisfy you. The weight of his last words was particularly heavy, transforming my smile into one of trepidation. For, thanks to my loose tongue during the day, I endured a night of relentless torment at the hands of Sieziyu. The following day, as we attended a friend's gathering, I appeared pale and unsteady, akin to a middle-aged husband drained of vitality. Today, we were barbecuing on a mountain. All present were Sieziyu's friends, who were familiar with me. Hello, sister-in-law. Curious glances fell upon Sieziyu's large hand as it gently kneaded my waist, their faces alight with smiles, while some whispered, Siego seems so serious, yet he's so playful in bed, even engaging in letter games. Did you see the way Siego looks at her? I've never seen such a doting expression before. I turned to look at Sieziyu. He was skillfully grilling pork belly, one hand tending to my sore waist. He expertly flipped the meat, drizzled it with a prepared sauce, and once it was tender, he wrapped it in lettuce and presented it to me. Oh, it was simply delectable. I marveled at how this affluent young master, unaccustomed to manual labor, had honed such culinary skills. Having spent 3 years by his side, unless he was away on business, he personally prepared our meals. At times, I had wondered if he viewed me merely as a pig to fatten for slaughter. I devoured the pork belly greedily. It was too hot, and I accidentally burned my tongue. Sieziyu cast a helpless glance my way, offering me a glass of water, his voice warm and melodic. Chu ran. No one is competing with you. Take your time. As he slowed his grilling pace, he only handed me the food once it had cooled. My lifelong wish had always been to have a full meal, and once satisfied, my spirits soared. However, all of that joy dissipated after I used the restroom, where I was cornered by Chen Hao. He scrutinized me with disdainful eyes. Your backside must be thoroughly worn out, right? I have heard whispers that Sieziyu possesses peculiar tendencies in bed, reveling in the torment of his partners. I am eagerly anticipating the moment he utterly ruins you, and once he discards you, I shall relish in my revenge. The taunt lingered in the air. Chen Hao, the scion of the prestigious Chen family in the capital, is a rather mediocre alpha who harbors disdain for betas and omegas alike. When I first accompanied Sieziyu to a soiree within the upper echelons of society, it was there that Chen Hao confronted me, deriding, I have never encountered you in these circles. You possess quite the pleasing appearance, yet I detect no trace of pheromones emanating from you. He sneered, Are you a beta? Surely you do not attend this gala in hopes of ensnaring a wealthy partner, having already been ravaged by alphas? Having grown up as a street urchin in the lower districts, I had developed a formidable resilience. If not for my honed skills, I would have long been reduced to mere remnants. Just recently, I had extricated myself from the clutches of a gang of ruffians, and now, with Sieziyu attempting to reform my unruly habits, my temper was particularly volatile. Chen Hao had inadvertently crossed my path. With a swift motion, I delivered a resounding slap that sent the pampered scion spinning. An alpha, bested by a mere beta, left him utterly befuddled. That day, he had intended to report me to Xieziyu, yet Xieziyu stood firm in his defense. His voice cold yet laced with concern. I know my Ranran well. He is a well-behaved child. You must have provoked him, for why else would he strike you? Chen Hao lacked the audacity to confront Xieziyu or challenge me further, resorting instead to subtle jabs whenever we crossed paths. How amusing it was, for I was now the cherished lover of Xieziyu. I boldly called out, Xieziyu, come quickly. Someone is bullying your little lover. Upon hearing my voice, Xieziyu abandoned the fish he was grilling and strode toward me. In a moment of distraction, Chen Hao shoved me, causing the world to spin. Fortunately, Xieziyu caught me just in time, his heartbeat thrumming anxiously in my ear. Chu Ran, are you unharmed? Did he trouble you? Why did you not inform me so I could handle him? I scratched my head, realizing I had underestimated this rogue's sneak attack. Xieziyu's gaze turned icy as he regarded the pale-faced Chen Hao. I shall inform your father of your actions today. Now apologize to Chu Ran. Xieziyu was indeed angered, as evidenced by his refusal to prepare my favorite dishes. For an entire week, he served me only the vegetables I detest, leaving me feeling as though I were fading away. This morning, the table was again laden with broccoli and boiled cabbage, devoid of any meat. I glanced at the food and lost all appetite. At this rate, the weight I had painstakingly gained would vanish. I messaged a fellow golden canary. I've angered my benefactor. How can I appease him? My friend responded promptly. Xiezong appears to have a rather even temperament. You exert your influence daily, and he has never shown fury. What on earth did you do to provoke him? Nonetheless, he offered advice last week. I angered my partner as well. I spent an afternoon at his office soothing him. Alphas are rather easy to placate with sweet words. Without hesitation, I ordered a milk tea and made my way to Xieziyu's company. The atmosphere felt peculiar upon my arrival. As the secretary escorted me upstairs, I overheard whispers among the employees. Is it true that the boss's white moonlight is returning? What will happen to Brother Chu? If only I had money, I would gladly support Brother Chu, regardless of his beta status. Xieziyu's white moonlight? No, I have been by his side for 3 years, and I had never heard of such a thing. Suddenly, everything clicked into place. It was no wonder Xieziyu had been serving me greens. He was subtly signaling me to make way for his long-lost love. I turned to leave, intent on safeguarding my assets. I must admit, Xieziyu is a generous benefactor. Over the past 3 years, aside from the monthly stipend of 100,000 star coins, he has showered me with gifts that, when converted to currency, would suffice to support me for 10 lifetimes. Yet, the elevator had arrived at Xieziyu's office floor. As he emerged from his office, his surprised gaze fell on me, his dark eyes sparkling with warmth. Chu Ran, what brings you here? It is rare for you to come looking for me at work. Do you require something? I handed him the milk tea, offering a carefree smile. I missed you, my esteemed benefactor. Come closer, let me pamper you. Xieziyu accepted the milk tea, his typically stern visage softening into a gentler expression. I failed to notice as he messaged a familiar number. Your advice proved fruitful. After merely giving him the cold shoulder for a week, he has come to see me. What other secrets of romance can you share to encourage Chu Ran to draw closer to me? At this juncture, I found myself genuinely contemplating escape. I remained oblivious to the reason behind Xieziyu's increasingly audacious antics in bed these past few days. Upon rising this morning, I noticed the crimson marks upon my wrists and ankles, my frustration boiling over, binding me. How audacious of him! If he possessed the gall, he should allow me to chain him instead. Yet, the moment I moved, I tugged at a sensitive spot, pain flashing across my face. I cursed him silently, believing that one day, he would regret his arrogance and face the consequences of his actions, perhaps ending up in a nursing home, enduring the disdain of caregivers. Then a thought struck me. Xieziyu's white moonlight must have returned recently. In the lower districts, I had witnessed many golden canaries suffer before losing their benefactors, as they were subjected to relentless whims until their funds were depleted. Xieziyu, though appearing generous, was still a capitalist at heart. His recent indulgence in various pleasures with me likely stemmed from this. As expected, I opened my phone to find a triumphant message from Chen Hao. Did you see? Xiegu went to the airport to fetch his white moonlight. Once the beautiful Omega returns to his side, let us see if you find yourself discarded. You might want to plead with me. I could be less harsh when I send someone to deal with you. He even sent a picture. Xiezhu, usually so aloof, wore a smile as he gazed tenderly at the petite Omega beside him. What a sight it was! An attractive alpha and a beautiful Omega, seemingly a perfect match. How infuriating! He went personally to fetch his white moonlight, yet he failed to disclose this to me. It seemed this arrogant alpha intended for me to assume the role of the mistress. My mother had been a mistress, and her fate had been dire. When I first entered Xiezhu's life, I had stipulated that if he ever desired marriage, he should inform me directly, and I would promptly distance myself. Upon hearing of Xiezhu's white moonlight, I began packing my bags. The preparations were swift. I stepped out of the villa I had called home for 3 years, suitcase in hand. Before discarding my SIM card, I paused to message Xiezhu. Xiedog, has anyone ever mentioned that your skills in bed are truly abysmal? I have pretended to be comfortable, yet I feel utterly miserable. I can no longer maintain this charade. Farewell, never to meet again. That night, I find myself restless and unable to sleep, my hunger gnawing at me. My appetite has been spoiled by Xiezhu, and now, every meal outside feels utterly unpalatable. I lament the lack of fresh ingredients and the unsatisfactory seasoning of salt and spice that fails to tantalize my palate. As I peruse the food delivery app on my phone, I discover that there isn't a single restaurant that piques my appetite. With a sigh, I open the moments of my WeChat account, having previously added Xiezhu under a pseudonym. To my surprise, I am greeted by a cascade of culinary images he has posted. I cannot fathom what has possessed him lately. A person who typically refrains from social media is now posting daily, sometimes over 10 times a day, all showcasing the dishes he has prepared. Each plate is a feast for the senses, making my mouth water. Today is no exception. He shares a collage of 9 pictures, accompanied by the caption, "Oh dear, I've accidentally cooked too much. I simply can't finish it all. If only someone could help me share." The more I gaze at his post, the hungrier I become. So, I down a large glass of water and turn over to sleep. I have been languishing in this temporary apartment for 3 days, feeling as if I might start to mold. After all, I have fled to a city far removed from Jing City, having even discarded my old SIM card. Meanwhile, Xiezhu is likely preoccupied with his radiant companion, and I have yet to receive any news of him seeking retribution against me. My courage begins to swell. Tonight, I venture out to a bar for a drink. When Xiezhu arrives, I find myself in conversation with an alpha who is attempting to flirt. "I've been observing you for quite some time. Why are you drinking alone? Are you feeling down? I could keep you company. I have consumed a fair amount of alcohol, my gaze hazy, yet my faculties remain intact." Just as this alpha attempts to lay a hand upon me, I contemplate smashing the bottle over his head. Suddenly, a long, powerful hand seizes the alpha's lewd grasp. Xiezhu's strength is formidable, eliciting pained cries from the alpha. I lift my eyes to meet Xiezhu's intense gaze. His handsome face bears the marks of weariness, shadows beneath his eyes suggesting fatigue. Upon noticing my stare, he slowly reveals a smile, his dark eyes resting on my face. "It's been a while, darling." The alpha, who had dared to touch me, is unceremoniously dragged away by Xiezhu's bodyguard. Xiezhu's gaze remains fixed upon me, causing me to shiver. Instinctively, I attempt to conceal the glass of alcohol before me. In the past, Xiezhu had employed various methods to deter my smoking and drinking, instilling a deep-seated fear whenever I encountered alcohol or cigarettes. After kicking the bottle beneath the sofa, I find myself locking eyes with Xiezhu, who wears a bemused expression, and I suddenly recall that I have severed ties with him. Why should I still harbor fear?
I bend over.
Trying to retrieve the bottle that has rolled to the back of the sofa. Just as I grasp it halfway, I feel a firm pressure against my backside. Xiezhu's voice is hoarse and low, laced with palpable desire. "Chu Ran, are you trying to seduce me? By the way, didn't you say that I failed to satisfy you in bed? Allow me to serve you well now, striving to meet your expectations." The word serve is pronounced with particular emphasis. As he speaks, his hand caresses my neck. Having been entangled in bed for 3 years, he is intimately familiar with every sensitive spot on my body. A mere touch sends shivers coursing through me. Damn it, we are still in a bustling bar. Moreover, Xiezhu's beloved has returned, yet he still wishes to share a bed with me. I grit my teeth, realizing that no alpha is ever truly virtuous. I push away his hand that is roaming my waist and stand, expressionless, clutching the bottle. "Xiezhu, keep your distance. With your skills, You could serve me for centuries and still leave me unsatisfied. Xie narrows his eyes, amusement mingling with irritation. He strides confidently to the sofa, his demeanor cold and commanding as he articulates. Is that so? Who was it that once proclaimed in bed that I was the best, that I brought you unparalleled pleasure? How convenient to forget once your trousers are up. Chu Ran, you truly are something else. Unbeknownst to us, the bar has gradually emptied, leaving only the two of us, with bodyguards stationed at the entrance. The atmosphere grows eerily quiet. Heat spreads from my neck to my face, and I retort, voice raised. That was merely an act. Do you understand? Besides, Xie, you already have your beloved. Before I can finish, I find myself enveloped by his strong arms, pulled into his embrace. He firmly grips my neck, prying my lips apart, kissing me fiercely, silencing any words of protest. As I succumb to the kiss, breathless and dazed, he finally releases me, caressing my flushed cheeks. He observes my unfocused gaze, a mocking smile gracing his lips. And who is it now that has turned into a fountain on my lap? Soaking my trousers? Outrage. This is sheer slander. I protest, indignant. That is a normal physiological response. Anyone who kisses me would elicit the same reaction. In the next moment, his expression darkens, his handsome features taut. Is that so? Chu Ran, you truly are remarkable. I am subsequently whisked away to a hotel by Xie. Throughout the journey, I struggle in vain. Yet, Xie, being a top-tier alpha, possesses strength far superior to mine, not to mention his commitment to regular exercise. I fail to escape his grasp even once. Instead, he smacks my backside sharply, admonishing, behave yourself. We shall settle accounts shortly. His voice is as frigid as ice. Instantly, I recall a previous incident when, taking advantage of his business trip, I ventured out to enjoy myself. I indulged too much, drinking excessively, and ended up sleeping overnight in a bar. Upon learning of this, Xie rushed back from his business trip. When he brought me back to the villa, his tone was as icy as it is now. So, you've taken to staying out all night, Chu Ran? Quite impressive. If you can stay out tonight, does that mean you'll dare to keep a little lover behind my back tomorrow? And abandon me the day after? Consequently, I found myself confined to bed for an entire week. The mere thought of that incident sends a pang of discomfort to my backside. The scenery outside the car window blurs past, but soon, my frantic emotions settle, and I regain my composure. I have done nothing wrong. The one entangled with his beloved is Xie. Besides, I had made it clear during our relationship that if he ever betrayed me, we would end things without needing anyone's consent. Yet, for reasons unknown, the thought of his betrayal leaves a sour ache in my heart. I force myself to attribute this to the impending loss of delectable meals, which is why I feel despondent. Xie kicks open the hotel room door. He lays me upon the king-sized bed, tearing off his tie to securely bind my wrists. Once satisfied that I won flee, he crouches down, patiently inquiring, "What prompted you to leave home? Has someone wronged you? Give me a reason, and I shall forgive you." How shameless. He dares to ask for a reason. Truly, all alphas share this audacity. I never imagined that Xie, with his striking brows and large eyes, would be cut from the same cloth as my biological father. Sitting upon the soft bed, I arch my lips into a smile. What reason is needed? I simply grew tired of you. As the esteemed Xie, a top-tier alpha, with so many omegas enamored with you, surely you wouldn't linger on a mere beta like me. The instant my words leave my lips, the temperature in the room plummets. Xie's expression darkens, his eyes reflecting hurt, the corners reddening. The voice was barely audible. Had the room not been enveloped in silence, I would have struggled to discern his words. Indeed, you occupy my thoughts incessantly. I was momentarily taken aback, my heart racing wildly. Yet, I quickly regained my composure and responded with a sardonic smile. Sweet nothings are easily uttered by anyone. When my mother discovered that my biological father had an unwed fiancée, she had confronted him, only to be placated by his assurances that he and his fiancée were merely business partners and would eventually part ways. He professed that the only person he truly loved was my mother. Naively, she believed his words until, after giving birth to me, she realized he had not only failed to end his engagement but had also secretly married in the upper city. It was then that she awakened to the harsh reality. Heartbroken, she returned to the lower city with me, living a melancholic life until her passing. In her final moments, her withered hand grasped mine tightly as she warned, Ran. Do not trust an alpha's words. Always maintain your rationality. Their sweet talk is mere deception. In truth, my claim of being tired of Xieziyu was a facade. He was strikingly handsome, physically capable, and inventive in bed, always prioritizing my pleasure before his own. I had often fantasized about spending a lifetime with him, for he had treated me with a kindness unparalleled, second only to my mother. Over the course of 3 years together, he was attuned to my emotions, showering me with gifts to lift my spirits and introducing me openly to his friends. When I faced disdain from the elite circles, he stood up for me without hesitation. To say I was unaffected by him would be disingenuous. However, I was acutely aware that the Xie family would never accept a beta like me as his partner. Thus, every time I felt myself inching closer to genuine affection for him, I reminded myself to remain detached. Fortunately, I had succeeded in this endeavor, allowing me to bid him farewell calmly. Xieziyu, cease your declarations of lingering affection and abandon the sweet words. Very well. I admit that my previous statement about being tired of you was a lie. The true reason for my desire to part ways is the return of your white moonlight. I hear he is a remarkable omega. I wish you both happiness. At this, it was Xieziyu who was left speechless. He furrowed his exquisitely crafted brows. Confusion etched across his face. What omega? When did I ever associate with an omega? Deceitful nonsense. I retrieved the photograph Chen Hao had sent me and presented it to him, my gaze mirroring that of a scorned partner. Here, evidence. I bit through my tie and tossed it onto him before attempting to leave the room. Yet, my wrist was firmly grasped. He is indeed an omega, but he is not my white moonlight. He is my biological brother of different fathers. Xieziyu's gaze burned with intensity, his previous gloom lifting to reveal joy. Are you jealous, Ran? No, do I appear to be such a gullible beta? I crossed my arms and scoffed. You've never mentioned having a brother. Now one suddenly appears. Xieziyu, if you intend to deceive me, at least craft a more convincing lie. He fell silent, lowering his head to send a few messages to his secretary. Soon enough, a paternity test result arrived, confirming his biological relationship with the Omega. He placed it before me, revealing their connection. Clearing his throat, he explained, my father is a scoundrel. He cheated while my mother was in postpartum confinement. She chose to divorce and move abroad, later remarrying, and this Omega is the child from that marriage. The Xie family values reputation highly, which is why this incident never became public knowledge. Very few are aware of my father's infidelity or my mother's remarriage and childbirth. He gently smoothed the tension from my clenched hands, his dark eyes softening. You should believe me now, shouldn't you? I remained unconvinced. I was not foolish. My mother's past served as a cautionary tale. Given Xieziyu's power and influence, fabricating a paternity test would be a trivial task. Nonetheless, Xieziyu believed he had clarified matters, his long fingers caressing my nape, smooth and devoid of glands. He bit down lightly, his beautiful eyes locked onto mine. Darling, when faced with problems, your first instinct should not be to run away, which saddens me. I have always regarded you as my wife. If you do not wish to be my wife, then whose wife do you desire to be? As he spoke, he produced a tie again, attempting to blindfold me. He failed. I still did not trust his words. Observing my skeptical expression, he chuckled in frustration. You do not believe me? I nodded. I require tangible evidence. Xieziyu, I have shared my mother's story with you. Do you not think that those in your elite circles could easily weave a lie to deceive me? Xieziyu brought me back to the capital. Upon disembarking the plane, I was greeted by the very Omega from the photograph, exuberantly introducing himself. Sister-in-law, hello, I am Songyu. In the photos I had not noticed it, but upon meeting him in reality, I suddenly recognized that Songyu bore a striking resemblance to Xieziyu. He had fair skin and identical phoenix eyes, though Songyu's demeanor was notably gentler. Xieziyu promptly drove us to the city's most reputable paternity testing facility to provide me with proof of his kinship with Songyu. Before long, expedited results confirmed that they were indeed biological brothers. The document I held felt as though it weighed 1,000 pounds. Songyu and the doctor had departed at some point, leaving only Xieziyu and me in the room. He embraced me from behind, his warm breath brushing against my neck as he spoke softly. Darling, do you now believe me? I had intended to introduce Songyu to you when I went to the airport to pick him up, but upon returning home, I found you had fled. You still claim my skills are lacking? Each word he uttered sent tremors through my body. Yet my rationality held firm. That is not my fault. I was misled. Everyone said Song Yu was your white moonlight. To my surprise, Xieziyu accepted my statement, his voice softening. I was wrong. I failed to provide you with enough security, which led you to leave without even asking me. Chu ran. He turned my body towards him, his handsome face serious as he earnestly declared, when we first got together, I expressed my feelings for you. Now I wish to confess once more. My feelings for you transcend mere affection. It is love. I instinctively curled my fingers, feeling awkward. But we cannot be together forever. Why not? I gripped my palm tightly, my voice barely above a whisper, as my long-suppressed insecurities surfaced. I am merely a beta. Someone of your caliber, a top alpha, would only marry an omega, and the Xie family would never permit our union. You will eventually have to enter a marriage alliance. He scoffed lightly. What is the Xie family to me? I am now the true head of the Xie family. Just days ago, my grandfather and my biological father were sent to a nursing home, never to return. The reason I kept you from them was that the Xie family will not interfere in our lives. He rested his forehead against mine, his voice sincere and gentle. I am not a pawn who needs to secure power through marriage. I am with you because I love you, and I wish to be with you for the long haul. Chu ran. Will you stay with me forever? I nodded emphatically and plunged into his embrace. 14. Xieziyu feigned indifference, yet his heart was rife with jealousy. He still recalled my words about his lackluster skills in bed and how I had grown weary of him. As the night unfolded, he pinned me down on the bed, forcefully declaring, with such an appetite, my darling, you will surely be able to consume it all. One TU? I've heard that betas possess a reproductive cavity, hidden deep within. If only it could be unearthed, you could conceive my love. Tears of frustration welled up within me, my body feeling utterly spent. His sharp nails etched lines upon his well-defined abdomen. At last, dawn arrived, and I believed it would be over. As I attempted to rise from the bed, he grasped my ankle, dragging me back, leisurely savoring the moment while holding me accountable. You fled for 5 days, and I've amassed quite the supply. You will undoubtedly consume it all. Your belly isn't even full yet. There's room for more. If I hadn't rushed to the bar the other night, would you have ended up with that alpha? Why are you so popular, my dear? It was true before, and it remains so. Many adore you, and I am consumed with jealousy. It wasn't until a week later that it finally came to an end. Yes, Xieziyu's sensitive period had erupted. His cycle typically began at the end of the month, but my disappearance had stirred such intense emotions within him that it arrived prematurely. For several days, he had been suppressing it with inhibitors. Now that I had returned to his side, he could no longer contain it. I lay in a comatose state for 3 full days before feeling revived. During this time, Xieziyu tended to me with meticulous care, adopting a submissive demeanor. No matter how much I scolded or struck him, he wore an expression of acquiescence. Today at noon, in a bid to win my favor and regain access to my bed, he prepared a sumptuous feast of 18 dishes that I adored. I devoured them with fervor. Xieziyu attended to me like a devoted servant, constantly offering me food and occasionally handing me water to wipe my lips. My darling, eat more. You've lost 5 pounds in those 5 days you were away from me. After our meal, Xieziyu's secretary entered to deliver a report. Mr. Chen has come with his son to apologize to Brother Chu. Who was Mr. Chen? Chen Hao's father. I raised my gaze to see the injured Chen Hao limping in behind a middle-aged man. Upon spotting me, the man immediately apologized and urged Chen Hao to bow in contrition as well. I soon learned that after Chen Hao had pushed me, Xieziyu had dispatched people to teach him a lesson, informing Chen's father, who was furious enough to consider sending Chen Hao away to another city. Thus, Chen Hao harbored resentment towards me, seeking opportunities to sow discord between Xieziyu and me. After receiving photos taken by a private investigator, he embellished the narrative and sent them to me. As he wished, I fled. Now, however, he found himself in a dire situation. With his father having many children, he was to be sent to the lower city to explore business opportunities after he had apologized. After reconciling with Xieziyu, Chen Hao had taken to being overly familiar with me. He was doing so now, reaching out to touch my head. If you don't wish to accept the apology, you need not forgive. I looked at Chen Hao, who wore an expression of discontent yet dared not scold me further, and my spirits lifted. The pampered youth would likely face considerable hardship in the lower city. I smiled brightly. I forgive you. 15. Xiaozu's mother returned from abroad. Upon our first meeting, she greeted me warmly. You must be Ran. I've heard so much about you from Ziyu over the years. It dawned on me that Xiaozu and I had crossed paths long before. He had spoken of me to his mother for many years. Xiaozu's father was reckless, having numerous affairs, and women outside sought to eliminate Xiaozu in their quest for power. Having been ambushed previously, Xiaozu found himself wandering to the lower city, injured and lost, only to be taken in by me, who had just lost my mother. We spent a considerable time relying on one another, but when his father's people came looking for him, he was forced to leave without a word. In the years that followed, he sought news of me, and upon finally finding me, he could hardly contain his eagerness to confess his feelings. Yet I had misconstrued his intentions, believing I was merely a plaything, a gilded cage for him. He gazed at me with a melancholic expression. I thought I was courting you, but you believed you were merely following me. Am I the type of alpha who needs to be pursued? No wonder Xiaozu complained daily of my popularity. In those times, I had taken in several homeless individuals like him, and with so many to care for, my memories of him had faded. After his departure, I simply assumed he had recovered and returned home. I chuckled awkwardly. I wondered why you turned red upon seeing me. I thought you suffered from a condition that caused involuntary tears. He pressed his forehead against mine. I do have a white moonlight, but it has always been you. 16. Xia's mother prepared a plethora of gifts for me, her face beaming with joy. When Ziyu told me he was with you, I couldn't believe it, thinking he was dreaming. But to my surprise, you truly accepted his confession. She informed me that she had initially planned to return to the country with Songyu, but fell ill at the last minute, allowing Songyu to return first. Her visit had two purposes, to meet me and to witness Xiaozu's proposal. Xiaozu had intended to propose to me, but before the venue was fully prepared, I had hastily fled, chastising him for his lack of skill. After Xiaozu calmly recounted the events, I shrank back, murmuring, You had been preparing me vegetable dishes and then fervently ravaging me in bed. I thought you had grown tired of me. He inhaled deeply, his expression one of utter exasperation. I prepared you vegetables because your health report indicated a vitamin C deficiency, and you refused to take supplements. Hence, I resorted to cooking for you. The second reason was that I listened to your friend's romantic advice. He claimed you adored meat, believing that too many vegetables would prompt you to seek me out. It wasn't so much about ravaging you. During the day, I was busy setting up the proposal, and my excitement translated into fervor at night. I widened my eyes in surprise. What romantic advice? Xiaozu had given 1,000,000 starlet coins to my good friend, who had then provided him with strategies on how to entice me. That was 1,000,000 starlet coins. I pulled out my phone and began typing furiously to my friend. You must share half the sum with me, or I will inform your alpha, and you can prepare to be bedridden. The sun set warmly. The spring breeze caressed both Xiaozu's and my faces. After sending the message, I lifted my gaze to find Xiaozu smiling at me. He produced a ring from his pocket, one that I had long admired for its exquisite diamond, large and exorbitantly priced. Chu Ran, I have cherished you for a long time. Will you marry me? Of course. I elongated my response. I will. The end of the story. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe and like to support. Until we meet again in the next tale.